This is Phil Woolery with Purdue Extension, and today we're out at the Pinny-Purdue Ag Center to take a look at some of the cover crops we planted in our plots last fall. So cover crops are used by farmers for multiple different purposes. They help keep the soil in place and prevent erosion. Their roots go in the soil and pick up nutrients that would otherwise leach out of the soil and retain them on the site. They help build soil organic matter and improve soil quality. Cereal rye is a common cover crop here in northern Indiana. It grows quickly and is tolerant of lots of different conditions. And one thing, it can germinate very late in the season in cold weather. So often is the case that some of these fields are sown with cover crops into November. And what we're doing here is we're comparing different seeding times for cover crops for the cereal rye in this plot here. So we did 3 different times. So the first time we seeded while the crop was still in the field at the beginning of September, and then we did one at the beginning of October and another one at the end of October. And the reason we did this is we're going to see if planting date will have the effect on our plant size, because we know with planting date is very important for our cash crops on that final yield. So the purpose of this demonstrations was to see what the difference is in the cover crops by planting date. Will planting earlier get us a bigger plant, and therefore it could capture more nutrients, prevent more soil erosion, and have more environmental benefits. So let's take a look at some of the different plants in each of these plots. This is our first seeding towards the beginning of September. We've got some nice above ground growth going on. We did have a pretty dry fall, so that had an effect, I think, possibly on some germination on this. So we can see some bigger plants and smaller plants, and that could be an explanation there. But on general, we've got, our plant heights at this point are, around 5 inches, kind of on average, some taller, some shorter. So some good above ground growth. Checking out what's going on in the root systems here, and looking at with the above ground, we've got very good, some nice tiller formation on here with lots of different stems growing out. So a lot of good biomass formation, which is good for building organic matter. So we'll check out the roots and see how deep we can dig them. I'm not going to try and dig the deepest we can with this. We're just going to check out the root system. So on this plant here, so we got roots growing out down here, and that's probably about 9 or 10 inches deep into the soil. And we get rid of some of this to look at the root system here. Good fibrous root system. And towards the surface, we've got nice dense roots system there. So this is going to help hold on to the soil very, very good, and it also produce organic matter, pick up extra nutrients that were left over from last year. So nice cover crop plant for us. So here we have, was seeded in the beginning of October, and the crops were out of the field at that point. We can see we've got some taller plants that are similar to what we can see, but we've got also these kind of smaller ones, maybe 4 to 5 inches on average. So a little bit smaller plants growing here. We can check out some of the underground growth, check out a root system here. So we've got Check out some roots growing at the bottom here. So that gives us about 7 or 8 inches at least. They could still be going down. These can have some deep roots on them. Have some earthworms in there too. That's a good sign for soil health. Mass here. So a little less organic matter production. There's one little one on here. So overall, doing us a good job there, and we'll still be catching nutrients and also producing organic matter for us. So here we're this is the latest seeding. So this was at the very end of October. Obviously the crops were out of the ground here when we sowed this one. Looking at these plants, we don't see a whole lot of tillers going on. We're looking at 3 to maybe 4 inches of height. But the big thing here is looking at we've got a lot less biomass going on here. So that's a difference there. We'll check out the root system, see what's going on underground. Okay, so I pick up a root there, and so that is roughly, 5 inches. We could have some longer roots on there too, but that's the first one I see. I see there's some a little deeper here, 5-6 inches going down. And we'll get this plant up here. So yeah, we've got close up on this plant here. We see we've got a couple small tillers, not as much. The tops are much smaller. The root systems are much smaller. So we're receiving less benefits of catching those nutrients. Be less able to prevent erosion this way. Less biomass production for organic matter. So that's a look at our 3 different planting dates. So here we have kind of a side-by-side comparison of some kind of more representative plants. So here we have our first seeding, beginning of September, beginning of October, and here's end of October. So fairly similar here. We noticed in this one, when we were walking through the plots, the second seeding date, they were on average maybe a little bit smaller than that, but not too much. And we're looking at these kind of root systems here, fairly similar, so still pretty good. It really, by the end of October though, we don't have as much sunlight and heat units to do that the growth in the fall. So we're losing some of our potential for organic matter production, for biomass, also for helping prevent soil erosion, and also catching excess nutrients. It takes the plant nutrients to build this root growth and top growth here, so we've got more nutrient content in these plants than this one. So to summarize, what we've seen in this kind of demonstration plots is the earlier we plant our cover crops, the more growth we get on them, and so by the more growth, the more benefits we can get out of them. So it can be a busy time in the fall with harvest to be able to find time to also plant cover crops, but if you want to maximize the investment of your cover crops, try and getting them planted early as possible will help you do that. So if you have any questions regarding cover crops and their establishment and the benefits that you can have with them on your farm, make sure you reach out to us in the comments below or by email.